Hey, what's up everybody? Prosper here with Watcher Realms. Welcome to the channel. Guys, we are checking out one of the most amazing heroes and lords in Watcher of Realms. I would definitely say she's in the top 3. But anyways, without further ado, let's dig in. Alright, Miss Ingrid. Man, is she crazy. If you pull Ingrid and that's why you're here watching this video, congratulations. She's an amazing hero. Your account just changed, especially if you're like early mid. She just brought you right into the end game. You're gonna start farming all the later dungeons with her, all the later gear raids. Campaign is over with. So yeah, Ingrid is definitely gonna be the massive account changer that she is rumored to be. First off, she is a Watcher Lord, and her Lord ability is pretty decent, I would say. She can go under the Praetus Lord, which is Supreme Arbiters, and with that way, you have better control of when that 50% happens, the 50% increase in damage. With her being the Lord, it's kind of random, periodically happens. But she increases the team faction members' basic attributes by 15%, this is normal. Periodically increases faction team members' damage and healing bonus by 50% for 20 seconds. The more faction allies are on a team, the more frequently it takes effect. This is one of what I'm talking about here. This increases their damage periodically, so it's going to happen whenever it happens. I don't know the threshold that it happens on. It's kind of difficult to say, but it does say that the more of your faction allies that are on the team, the more often it's going to happen. So bringing a lot of Watcher faction heroes, if you have her as a Lord, is going to help increase the time that she's going to be doing this. And she also has, after the Lord deals direct damage to an enemy, faction team members deal 20% extra damage to the enemy within 3 seconds. So obviously if they're on the field, they're going to do an extra 20% extra damage, depending on how many you have. So you could have up to, what, 5? So you can get like a total of an extra 100% damage from your faction allies. Of course, it's not going to all equal out the same depending on which faction allies you're bringing with. Now, for the Watchguard faction, this is a very, very powerful faction. You see we have Leia in there as well, so if you're running Ingrid, and there's no reason you couldn't run Leia under Ingrid, or vice versa, so that's something to keep in mind. Diao Chen has just been recently added as of making this video. We have Eunomia, we have Alistair, super powerful, super useful for APOC 2, APOC 1. Lucius, super strong hero. Alora, not so much, but if you have her under Ingrid, she might actually do really well. Cratch is terrible. We have Edith. We have Constance, which is going to be a very useful hero for most stages, depending on what you're going for. Typically, you run Constance in Guild Boss 2 for Semra. Regulus is actually a really decent tank. People kind of underestimate it, get underrated a little bit. But we have a few of the big ones here. We have Kagiri, and then we have Su Wukong right here. Now, I think these are 2 of the best fighters in the game, personally, especially for boss fights. And that's not to say that they're not useful. If I were giving them a rating all across the board, they'd probably get 5-star for everything that they can touch. If it's not air, they're probably going to be top tier, right up there with Valderon. We also have Ares, which is actually a really good unit for geared dungeons. So this faction has become very strong, and for Ingrid, it's a big plus because she's super strong on her own. On her own, you don't need to bring faction allies. On her own, she's gonna do amazing things for you. All right, so now she is a mage, and she is magic damage. That means she's gonna do extra damage to heavy armored units, but even with light armored or common armored, she's gonna destroy them. She does so much damage because she also does true damage. It says here she has multi-target attack, single target attack, range boost, continuous damage. The reason that both of these tags are here is because she can switch modes. So when she switches modes, she can go into like more of a single target kind of hit. But she's most known for her ability to do solar flare damage, which is AoE just across the map. If she hits it, any enemy across the whole map and the lane that she's in is getting hit. Now her range is also very long, so that makes it so for Arena specifically, if enemies are within those 5 tiles there, she starts amping up to get that solar flare going, which is described in the talent here. When deployed, enters solar mode. Solar mode is the AoE mode that she goes into. Launching 4 basic attacks turns the next basic attack into a solar flare. Solar flare deals 270% AoE damage to up to 15 enemies in a wide front area. This is the attack that I'm talking about. We have stellar mode as well. Launching 4 basic attacks turns the next basic attack into a star shower. Star shower deals 50% damage to one enemy in range 9 times. So every 5 attacks, she's going to launch an extra 9 attacks at 50% damage. It's pretty decent. I would say, I mean, compared to solar flare, it's going to be a little less useful. But if it's your main hero and you're running with her for the most part, star shower definitely is worth it using for like guild boss or guild boss 2 or any kind of like boss kind of damage or a single target for that matter. Onto the basic attack, solar mode deals 100% AoE damage 1 time to up to 8 enemies. So solar mode, when she's in there, her basic attack just does 100% AoE damage to 8 enemies. So she's continuously doing AoE. And in stellar mode, she deals 50% damage 2 times to a single target. This does obviously stacks up to level 5. Cosmic shift. All you're doing here is switching her back and forth between solar mode and stellar mode. Solar mode is AoE. Stellar mode is single target. And you can see she's purple right there on the screen right now. That is stellar mode. When she turns yellow or when she is yellow, that's going to be solar mode. So that's a good way, the best indicator I can give that's going to tell you which mode you're in when you're in the game. Now onto her first passive, Empyrean Tempest. Now bear with me, this is a lot. You can see it's quite a book here. Triggering Solar Flare grants 1 stack of solar energy. And triggering Star Shower grants 1 stack of stellar energy. Up to 5 stacks can be accumulated. Each stack of solar energy or stellar energy increases damage by 3%. I just want to pause right there for a moment. So triggering Solar Flare grants 1 stack of solar energy. So just focus on solar mode for now. And then when you get to 5 stacks, so it's going to take you 25 hits, she's going to get to what is called Solar Overload down here. And essentially she's going to have that full power. So she's going to have that 3% times 5. So each stack of solar energy or stellar energy increases damage by 3%. This is where it's going to be that 15% when she gets to 5. And you can tell when this is happening because she has little stars above her head. Every time she gets a stack, a little dot or a little glowing dot is yellow or purple, depending on what mode you're in, is going to add up to the top on the top of the hero. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When she gets to 5, she's going to enter solar overload or stellar overload. That just depends on what mode that you're in. Reaching 5 stacks of solar energy triggers solar overload. Reduces attack interval by 15%, during which the ultimate cannot be used. So once you get in there, you get a 15% reduction to your attack interval, and you cannot switch out until you get out of that 5 stacks. It lasts for 20 seconds. Solar energy will be cleared when the effect duration ends. And it's the same thing for stellar energy. So when you get up there, she's going to basically go up into stellar overload. Increases attack by 20%, so she gets an attack increase instead, during which the ultimate cannot be used. So you're stuck into that mode until that 5 stack or 20 seconds is up. Stellar energy will be cleared when the effect duration ends, and then she starts to stack it up again. So you need to get to 25 attacks to get that full boost, and it's really important to know when that's happening, because especially for things like Arena, you know you're going to be in like a full damage mode. You're going to get that full attack percentage of 20. If you're in Solar Flare, you're going to get that reduced attack interval, so she's doing that much faster. And of course, it also skills up here. Now, the next passive, Celestial Wrath. Solar Flare deals an extra 2 damage 1 time equal to 100% of the hero's attack to enemies hit. One more time. Solar Flare deals an extra true damage. True damage is, does it say up here? Oh, it doesn't. True damage essentially works based off of your attack. It doesn't crit, so it's just raw damage, and it ignores defense as well. Of the hero's attack to enemies hit. So he's going to do 100% of her attack damage to the enemy's hit. It's kind of weird how it works, but it just completely ignores damage, so it's just going to be that damage. Each damage dealt by Star Shower has a 15% chance of inflicting burning and a 15% chance of inflicting radiant erosion. So now you're getting that damage over time, DOT damage is what we call it. Burning is going to do 20% continuous magic damage per second. And then Radiate Erosion is going to deal continuous true damage based on defense of the inflicted target every 2 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. Now, Radiant Erosion has nothing to do with your hero stats. It's all focused on the defense of the enemy. So that's what it's going to do. It's going to take that number and it's going to deal that as true damage. Okay, that's how Radiant Erosion works. And this can also skill up, get a little more Solar Flare true damage, get a little more chance of inflicting burning and Radiant Erosion as you're skilling up. Now, she also has an arena damage increase of 15%. So if she's in arena, she's doing extra 15% damage. She's already a nuisance. She doesn't need it. Now, onto her attributes really quickly. Hero details, max level. HP is at 13,268, not bad. Attack is at 6,102. This is really decent for a mage, especially. Defense is 888. Magic resistance is 2682. Cost is 25. This is probably one of the things that people worry about the most. But if you use a cost regen hero prior to putting her out, or just wait a little bit and try to make it until you have that 25 cost, it works out just fine most of the time, because she comes out and just starts obliterating whatever stage that you're on. Block is 1, it doesn't even matter. Redeployment time is 60 as normal. Attack interval is 3 seconds, so you're probably gonna be looking at like a 1.5 second attack interval in like a max range. Attack speed is 100, crit rate is 0, crit damage is 150, healing effect is 0, rage regen is 0, rage regen auto when she's just idle is going to be at 14. When she hits somebody, she's going to get 10, and when she gets hit, she's going to get 6. Alright, now from there, we're just going right over to the Awakenings here. Awaken level 1, in Stellar Mode, deals 20% increased damage to targets inflicted with Radiant Erosion and receives 20% less damage from targets inflicted with Radiant Erosion. Awaken level 1 is pure single target. So when you're in Stellar Mode only is when you're going to see the special effects coming from this Awaken level 1. Now it is nice if you're on going against Guild Boss or Guild Boss 2 or any kind of single target or a boss of some sort, but it's not really a key awakening for most people. They're going to be looking for raw AoE damage for the most part out of her. It's still very good and usable, trust me. Awaken level 2 is attack plus 300, and then she also gets an extra bonus to her Lord ability, which increases faction team members' attack by an extra 5%. So instead of 15%, now they're all going to get an extra 20% attack. Now, Awaken level 3, this is where Solar Overload and Stellar Overload start to get really overpowered. During the Solar Overload and Stellar Overload, reduces the number of basic attacks required by the talent Trigger, Solar Flare, and Star Shower to 1. Do not get confused. This does not mean that throughout the whole time you're using Ingrid that she's going to do that special ability for Solar Flare or Star Shower every other attack. This is only going to happen when she has max stacks. Let me see here. You can find it. Of Empyrean Tempest. So this is going to stack up to that 5. Remember the 5 stars above her head? When she gets those 5 stars, that's when she's going to go basic attack, Solar Flare. Basic attack, Solar Flare. That's going to last for 20 seconds. So just make sure you understand that that's not all the time. But it is broken. It is absolutely broken. Because when she gets to those 5 stacks, it doesn't usually take a long time. Bam, she's doing that. Like basic attack, Solar Flare. Basic attack, Solar Flare. It's so much damage. Alright, Awaken level 4 is penetration plus 8%. Like she even needs it, but you know, we'll take it. Awaken level 5 is Solar Flare. Ignores 25% magic resistance. So you can see that that's going to make a huge difference for the hero once you get to that point, right? If you actually manage to get yourself an Awaken 5 Ingrid, I mean, good luck. It's going to be rough. Now, Solar Flare. That is that AoE damage. So you bring in her arena, she can start ignoring defense. Basically, magic resistance is how it works. Actual physical damage ignores defense, and then magic damage, it goes off of magic resistance. And it's usually attack minus defense, or attack minus magic resistance, depending on the type of damage that's going in. Alright, so we got through that. Let's go over to the hero in the hero pool here for gearing. Now there is 2 options for your gear here. You have Infernal Roar, which is going to give her that 40% increased damage immediately, or you have Soul Arcana, which is still glitched, and it's going to bring her up to a total of 50% damage, right? This one here is at Awaken level 0. I'm not going to go to Awaken level 1 and Awaken level 3. I'm going to have to take you up to all the way up to Awaken 5 because I only have 2 copies of her. And this one is A0 and the other one is already A5 because I was testing it prior. Now, for today, I'm going to put it in Soulbound Arcana. But if you're doing Arena, typically people do with Infernal Roar. If you only need to put her down for a little bit, Infernal Roar works really well. She's going to be like your first hero that you put out. A lot of times Soulbound Arcana might be the best bet. Especially in long fights like Guild Boss, you're still going to want to go with Soulbound Arcana. So we're going to go ahead and build her here. And you want to get that attack really high. So you want attack percentage as the main. And you want a flat attack as a substat somewhere in there. Pieces like this are going to be ideal all across the board. You can use something like Night Terror. Night Terror works really well. So I am going to showcase her today in Gr1 because this girl can solo Gr1-21 with no anti-heal, and that's about it. She just does it. She needs a couple support heroes around her to keep things rolling, but other than that, she's pretty good to go. For the breastplate, Warlord is definitely going to be your best set. I would say Calamity is going to be your second best. Then you can go something like a Wicked Vengeance after that. If you have the 4 quad roll Wicked Vengeance pieces, then you can go with those instead because you can get attack speed, crit rate, crit damage, and attack bonus. And that's something you can take into consideration, but I think the weapon would be kind of a mishap where you just end up being... let me see if I can find one here. Yeah, so you can go like this. A piece like this would be nice on the weapon, and then it'd be the same thing over here, right? That's what you want, and then you want one of these pieces over here if you decide to go with Wicked Vengeance, because you can get quad rolls on the weapons. But this is going to work out really well. Her attack is going to be at 26.9k, and she has right around 285% crit damage. Now remember that the crit damage isn't as important as the attack for Ingrid. It happens in a lot of cases, but in this case in particular, it's more important to have the really high attack. Otherwise, I'd say try to push for 300 crit damage. The reason for that is because of the true damage. Artifact. As of the making this video, she does not have an exclusive artifact. I'm sure if they give her one, it's going to be overpowered into... it's going to beat out the Tier of Twilight. But you're just going to go with the Tier of Twilight. Maxed out. Even at base level, it's going to be better than anything else. So level 10 even. Just try to get it as high as you can. And then we have, as another option... Oh, I don't have one on here. Let me go over to the other name first here. White Tower Trinket here. So White Tower Trinket is going to, when deployed, increases attack by 18%. When there are no adjacent allies, gain an extra attack speed increase of 35. So in Arena, this is going to work really well because she's getting extra attack speed. That's going to happen because she's going to be up in that top corner. And it gives her the 18% attack speed. Now base Twilight is going to give you 20%, and that's why it's going to be better. So let's go ahead and showcase her right away in Gr1-21 and see if I can actually manage to get this stage done without Power of Dominance being on. Now, you might say, well, these heroes are all really overpowered and overgeared, and you'd kind of be right. I'm going to go ahead and put some gear on Dolores as well. Just needs to be attack with attack bonus. Nothing too crazy here. Whatever's laying around. I'm trying to grab a glacier set if I can. Here we go. And then on the left side, we're just going to go ahead and put attack bonus and attack for Calamity. This will work here. And another Calamity piece. Yeah, Diao Chen's got one on. There we go. Then her artifact will be a Golden Scarab. And then she's going to be coming in at a total of 13.5 plus a certain percentage of her HP, which is 6% of 25k. Going to be added on to the top of that. That should work out pretty well. She doesn't have any Rage Regen on her, but it doesn't really matter. I did take something off of Diao Chen, right? So we're going to change this up a little bit. I'm going to grab Diao Chen and get her geared as well, because she's somebody else that I'd like to use, but she's not as important as Dolores. So Calamity. Alright, so we'll use this piece here. This is really nice, 24%. Yep, that's good. She has her exclusive, which is actually Dolores's. Maybe I should just swap these two out here. We'll swap these two out. Swap her with Dolores. There you go. Now she's going to be at 12.7k attack, and then Dolores is going to be at total of 14k. Alright, so, and then we're going to go ahead and have Elowen in there as well, and we're going to have, maybe I could even boost this up a little bit more. Let's find our Ingrid. Oops. And you see Ingrid works well with Diao Chen, so that's pretty awesome. We don't need any of these other heroes here. See how we can make this even a little bit more interesting. I would say bringing an Infernal Blast Lord for Dolores, maybe? I think that'd be a good idea. And there you go. We have Elowen, Hollow, Laurel, Diao Chen, Ingrid, and Twin Fiend, Dolores, and Elowen here. So, I mean, I just bring in Twin Fiend to bring her attack stats up a little bit. And Diao Chen's already getting the attack speed, or attack percentage boost from Ingrid. Now let's see, you can see there's no anti-heal in here, and technically she's the only DPS unit. Twin Fiend is not going to go on the field. Let's see if we can make it happen. It can be a little rough sometimes getting this to work right. And it's tight, and it's really good gear, and I understand that, but there's other ways to make her damage even higher. So let's go ahead and put her down. I'm going to go ahead and put Diao Chen right here. We're going to go ahead and put Dolores down. We're going to activate Diao Chen right away. I'm going to activate Ingrid right away. We're going to try to get those power dominance, or those Soulbound Arcana stacks going just by getting some ults off here. So Diao Chen is going to stay in that mode. We're going to swap Ingrid back. So she goes into Solar Flare. And you can see that she's turning yellow. So she should be doing her Solar Flare now. And then we're going to go ahead and put down our girl Hollow, and we'll activate Dolores right now, and then I'll put down yeah, I'll put Elowen over here. She doesn't need to be doing anything, she just needs to stay alive somewhere. We'll activate Hollow as well, get her damage up. We could cycle Laurel. I could have brought Volca with as well to make that cycling time a little faster, but we're fine. If she starts to struggle up here, you could place down a Wood Elf. Now as soon as these guys come around the corner, we're going to go ahead and activate Dolores again. I'm going to place a Wood Elf right now. You can see she's doing a really good job of just creaming these guys, and the boss is just struggling to keep them alive. Just healing them is almost impossible. Alright, so Dolores is ready again. We're at full stacks of Empyrean. So she's going to have that full, it should be Solar Flare. Or she get an extra increase in damage. Her attack interval is reduced, I'm sorry. Attack interval is reduced right now when she's at that 5 stacks. So now it just went away, the 20 seconds is up. So we can go ahead and place down Laurel and pick her up again. Shouldn't matter, she's gonna be able to take these enemies out just fine. Comes the Forsaken Totem, but nobody's gonna be there. It's awesome. She's at 4 stacks now, so she'd go into it again in a moment here. We're gonna go ahead and activate Dolores. And we can activate Hollow right away as well. Now she's in that full stacks here. So she should be getting the extra 15% attack, plus the reduced attack interval as well. We're gonna go ahead and cycle Laurel again. I could cycle her much faster, guys. We're gonna activate Dolores first and then cycle her. Alright, so this might be where it gets a little tight. Should be fine though. See about the damage up here coming into Ingrid. If she can handle this. I'm gonna go ahead and put down a Wood Elf just to make sure. I'll activate Dolores again. I'm gonna activate Elowen. You see the damage on the wall is getting pretty high. Hopefully she can take him out in time. It does get tight, guys. It does get tight. I'm gonna go ahead and cycle Laurel again. Hopefully this works out the first time around. If she's A3, this would be over already. But it looks like they're gonna bust through the wall on me, which is, it figures. as I'm making a guide here, it's gonna definitely gonna bust through. But you can see how this can work. It's you can add in something like Autumn in there. You can add in a whole bunch of cool stuff going on there. You can see she's doing all of the damage here at 200k, but she does make it through all the way. You add one more DPS unit, it's over. And so if you get an Ingrid, Gr1-21, it's toast. Now there's plenty of stages too that she's also good in besides the Gr1. I can kind of show you a few of those stages. We'll go over her reviews really quickly here. Okay, so right here they are. Player reviews. You can see Gr1, 5-star. Hide, absolutely. She's a lord. She's gonna have really high BP because of that. Guild War, she's absolutely broken. I forgot to mention Guild Wars actually. So GVG, all you have to do is point her down the lane, and when you point her down the lane, as long as she can get her stacks going and get that AoE flowing, the demon soldiers going against her are just almost impossible to keep alive. It's very difficult if you're trying to attack an Ingrid. I'm sure many of you have already experienced this. As long as she's able to reach some demons, they're toast. Immortal Codex, absolutely. There's plenty of stages. There's the I say Arbiter of Frost. She actually does really well there, and she also does really well in the Furious Torrent. So that's the Pelagius boss. You put her up there and she just clears out those fish flying in, and she does all that true damage as well. It's a crazy amount of damage. Faction Trial, of course, she's gonna be super useful. AoE Arena is gonna be the next best bet, I think, for her. She just place her up there and she just like clears the waves. You could just imagine how well it goes. Void Rift, absolutely. Titanic Ruins, 100%. The resource raids, yep, absolutely. Anti-Air DPS, she kind of gets beat up by Nyx a little bit, but those Nyx teams have to be flawless in order to take her out. Otherwise, she wins them pretty easily. Guild Boss, absolutely, he's pretty good. Gear Dungeon 1, absolutely. And then we have single target DPS in Arena. I wouldn't give her quite a 4.8, but she's decent there, decent enough. It's kind of hard to get out for single target. She's not going to be your #1 go-to. Then we have Artifact and Chila Raid. Yeah, I suppose if you in the later stages, 22, I think it is, and 20, or is it 20, or is it 19 and 21? I can't remember, but whichever one is the platform one, this is going to be the one he's really good at. Gear Raid 3, absolutely. You can put it up on one of those platforms up there, and AoE damage is just gonna mow them over, particularly on the left side. Gear Raid 2, not so much. She's not going to be. You can probably use her early on, but later on you're not going to want to use her too much there. Gear Dungeon 2, yeah, I've seen people use her. She does okay. If you put her up there, she can take care of those 4 enemies on the top right, and some of the vocal clones as well when they're coming in there, but she's kind of hard to cycle because she's really expensive. Alright, so now I wanted to try something in the anti-air DPS, and something that's got me kind of curious. And it has to do with Diao Chen now being in the game, mixing it with any platform unit up there in that top left corner. I think that she can reach up there, and if she can reach up there, we have something interesting to talk about here. But first off, we have to deal with the other mobs coming in and wait to put Ingrid on the field because of her cost. So I'm just attacking some random guy on my main account. I do have Ingrid. I'm lucky enough. Let's see. I'm just gonna get Silas down first. There's a good chance I could lose this first part of the fight. Hopefully you can see everything right. Looks like it's a little off center, but that's okay. We're not worried. We're gonna let Silas win this one. On the other team, I mean. Okay, take a loss. Take a second loss here as well. I'm just gonna hold off, guys. Get him going. Clear this guy out. He should clear at the same time. 3 more costs to get her out. She's gonna start here, and here she comes. Right, so now Ingrid's out on the field. She's in Solar Flare. She should be able to take care of these guys. Boom. See, I mean, it's not even that hard to set up, guys. Not even that hard to set up. Now here's the part that's interesting. Like, you can just put her right here. You can put a backup over here in this corner for Hatsuit. But you got a full-time inspiration buff coming from Liao Chen. And you can see she's just gonna clear these guys out like it wasn't anything. Crazy. It's crazy. I brought in Yunomiya here just to help with the damage increase interval. You could bring in, instead of, I mean, I guess you could bring Constance if you wanted to. It doesn't really matter. But it also, she's wearing a euphoric orb, which is going to actually increase the attack speed of the unit. She also does some decent buffs as well, so having her along isn't bad. Look at this damage. Boom. Insane, guys. Absolutely broken. Now, I don't really have to do anything for the rest of the fight. It's over. It's over already. You don't need anybody else. If you're going against Ingrid, you might struggle a little bit more because she's a little bit faster. But that is a easy showcase. You have one good unit to take out the first two waves. Kind of hold off on the third a little bit. Pop your Ingrid down. You don't need to cost regen hero on the field or anything. So that just shows how powerful she actually is. She's broken. She's a broken hero. But she's a lord and she's really hard to achieve, so. Anyways, guys, I think that's all I really have to show you. There's plenty of things you can do with Ingrid. Plenty of things to call her out on, but she's a super amazing hero. I don't know what else to say about her. If you get her, you are one lucky son of a gun. Anyways, that's it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to join the Discord. Hero guides, stage guides, tier lists, takeovers, you name it. And also, at the time of making this video, I am working on the website, prospector.dg. The homepage is set up, but most of the other links don't work right now. So it's kind of in beta mode. So when you go there, you might see a mess. I'm just letting it stay open and just be right in the open for everybody. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep digging.